Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Keith McBean, the Deputy Permanent Representative from the Mission of Ireland to the UN, and delighted to welcome both those in person and also those joining us online. Ireland's very honoured to host this press briefing organised by the Women's Forum on Afghanistan. It's an event organised in collaboration with Ireland and France, and it seeks to shine a light on the critical role of Afghan women in driving regional prosperity and economic development. And I'd like to express my appreciation for and admiration of the critical work of the Women's Forum on Afghanistan in amplifying the voices and experiences of Afghan women in global conversations around gender equality. We're here today in what is a common purpose: to stand in solidarity with women and girls in Afghanistan and to reaffirm our commitment to their full, equal, meaningful and safe participation in discussion concerning the future of their country and its economy. Since the takeover of the Taliban de facto authorities in August 2021, as we know, the Afghan economy has plummeted due to a number of factors, but one of these has been the ban on women from entering many areas of the workforce, and indeed the draconian decrees excluding girls from schools and universities. And without first addressing gender equality, any efforts at economic recovery will be futile. Achieving gender equality in Afghanistan is pivotal, not just for economic growth, but also for fostering peace and stability. So Ireland will continue to heed the words of Afghan women and platform their voices, standing shoulder to shoulder with Afghan women and girls as they pave a path towards greater economic development and a more peaceful future for Afghanistan. And that's why I look forward very much to listening to what they have to say to us today about alleviating poverty and furthering economic development in Afghanistan. So it's now my great pleasure to hand over to Ms. Margot Wallström, who will take it from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, and good morning to all of you. And as you can see, I even dressed in the Irish colours to honour Ireland, because you have been such a staunch friend in everything that we've tried to do from the forum side, and we know that you, through all your activities, also continue to support our work for equal human rights also to the women of Afghanistan. A warm welcome to all of you online and here in this room in the UN building this morning. We don't have that much time, and we will go straight to our program. Somebody asked, will there be any news delivered today? I think there have been very few good news delivered from Afghanistan lately. Mostly edicts that restrict the movements and the rights of women, unfortunately. But today we think we can hopefully provide a somewhat different perspective. And it's really about this issue. Can there really be economic growth and prosperity and hope for the future if women are excluded? In what way do women contribute to the economic growth and prosperity of Afghanistan? What is their role? And to help me, and I invite you to come on the stage, please, Fatima Gailani, as you know, former president of the Afghan Red Crescent, Fawzia Koofi, former deputy speaker of the Afghan Parliament, Asila Wardak, who is now the former who is a former Director General of UN Affairs in the Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Naheed Sarabi, former Deputy Finance Minister of Afghanistan. We couldn't have a better panel here, I think, today. And I think we should go straight. Did I forget somebody? No. We are all there. So I think we should get straight to the point, and I don't think I need to say much more now about the forum, but we formed this forum, started this forum when the international community left Afghanistan. And we wanted it to be a platform, a forum for both global women leaders and women leaders from Afghanistan. And we want to make sure that we hear their voices, that we can provide contacts and meetings for continuously making sure that women's voices are being heard. They have a voice, but they are not always listened to. And also to make sure that we show our solidarity fully from the global leader side as well. So please, I think we should just go from the order that we set out here in the program. So maybe I ask Fatima to start. And yeah, as you know, just a few minutes and then we can open up for questions afterwards. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Please, Fatima Gailani.
Good morning. I would like to thank Ireland for this opportunity and their continuous support for Afghan women and Afghanistan in general. I'm grateful. And of course, I am grateful for all of you who have come here to listen to us, because we are getting less and less interest, unfortunately, in this very important matter. As much as we are grateful to the international support, as much as we are absolutely see the vital support of women all over the world, I would like to make it very clear, we would like to make it very clear, that this is an Afghan thing. This is something which comes from every Afghan household. This is something which is needed. This is not only something that we should take it lightly. It is the future of Afghanistan depends on it. And for the Muslim people of Afghanistan in this month of Ramadan, we have to make it very clear that for us, Afghan women, Muslim women, it is not just our right. It goes much deeper than that. This is our duty. And for me, closing schools for a woman who has been ordered to learn is exactly like if I am fasting, someone will shove food in my mouth. Or if I am praying, that someone will stand in front of me, will not allow me to bend. That's why this is something which has to reverse. And if you see today that how many families left Afghanistan only and only because of that reason. This is something that not just women, but men in Afghanistan also talk about it. Only a few weeks ago, very openly, we could see that in the Loya Jirga tent, our religious leaders from both Shia and Sunni spoke about that matter with great length and very assertive reasons for it to reverse. So here, I want to stop by saying that when we say that this is an Afghan issue, it doesn't mean that we don't need or that we don't welcome support all over the world. I think this is an effort that needs the whole world to stand for it until it is really reversed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fatima. And we go straight to Fawzia Koofi. Please, Fawzia.
Thank you, Minister Margot. Thank you, Minister Margot. Thank you, Ireland. Dear Goit, this is especially for you. And good morning to everyone. I also would like to emphasize that Afghanistan is almost forgotten with one awful conflict, occupying the agendas of the world leader. the other one basically washed away, which we see in Afghanistan, the 21st century serious human rights crisis is happening. Everybody look at it as a woman issue. For us, it is more than just a woman rights violation. For us, it's about our country, it's about the security of our country, the security of the region, and the security of the globe. It's about the economy of Afghanistan. What is happening there is not just women's rights violation, it's more than that. Because if it's only women's rights violation, it's very easy to be ignored and forgotten by the world leaders. So that's why we want to see, and I want you to see, the security and the economic implications of what's happening in Afghanistan. In 6 days' time, the schools will open in Afghanistan. The education year will start. And for the 3rd year, the girls will not be allowed to go to school. I was one of those who experienced the same thing in the first time Taliban were in power. And now the next generation of my sisters, all of a sudden, in a matter of a blink of an eye, saw everything collapse and experienced the same thing. They're doing it under the name of Islam. We know it's in contradiction with Islamic principles. Therefore, we are here to request the international community, and especially the regional countries, the Muslim majority countries, to take serious steps, not only issue letters of solidarity, press briefing, statements, but also meaningfully stand, because who is going to compensate for the 3 years and many more years to come, because we don't know when the schools will open, that the girls are out of school, that women are no longer part of any public space, that not only women and girls, but even the enrollment of the boys have dropped, because many families just prefer to take harder choice to leave their country. So it is a migration crisis for your own capitals if you do not do anything together. Yes, you need to give the space to the politicians, civil society, women groups in Afghanistan to form their own narrative, because this time we want to lead our own narrative. But we need the UN to take the lead in terms of a regional and global process, political process for Afghanistan. That's why we are here to meet different member states, different countries. There was a UN meeting in Doha that the Taliban did not attend, but the political parties were also not invited. The political groups were not invited. We're very grateful for the number of civil society and women that were invited there. But if there is a political process, it has to be between the two sides. There should be people who have different views on the table. So we hope that we are engaging with regional countries as well. We have had several meetings with regional countries. I understand their perspectives are different. We would like to continue to work with the region, because we know the role of the region is pivotal in this situation, in shaping, influencing, but also creating an alternative for Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fawzia. Asila Wardak, please, Asila.
Thank you so much, Minister Margot. First of all, I would like to thank Ireland for their continuous support and give us this platform and opportunity to speak and then to raise our voices, the voice of voiceless women and people of Afghanistan. Secondly, also, I would like to thank UN missions, member of Security Council and all member states here, that you could see that since the CSW beginning, there are so many events, inside events about Afghanistan. This is an indicator that still Afghanistan is on the agenda of the UN and international community. I would like to thank, despite the fact that there are so many issues in terms of Ukraine, Gaza, and other conflict area. I would like to focus on the regional issues, the importance of the regional countries, that how much is it important, because we are only focusing, and our main focus was on the US, role of UN and European countries, but at the same time we forgot to talk or to speak or focus about role of regional countries. They have, it's a joint responsibility. The regional countries, they are responsible, especially in terms of stability and prosperity. If Afghanistan is stable, then the regional will be stable. That's why we started our consultations with different regional countries, with Pakistan, with Iran, with Turkey, and those Afghans that they are sitting there, also with those influential figures that they had background of working in Afghanistan or working for Afghanistan sometimes. So we are doing all these meetings to speak with them, that we would like to convey our messages through those figures to their countries. Because there are so many bilateral programs with de facto authorities by Pakistan, by China, by other countries. But unfortunately, Afghan women and human rights are not in their agenda. There is no conditions. There are lots of bilateral agreements that they are signing, but unfortunately, there is no conditions that they should put on Taliban that at least respect human rights or women's rights or these things. Also about one stand that they are, the international community in general, at the Security Council also, unfortunately, there is no one stand about Afghanistan. I would like, as an Afghan woman, to request the member of Security Council that at least in terms of Afghanistan, it should be one stand, a united stand. Also, in terms of regional countries, that there should be one stand, because terrorism is expanding. My colleague will be speaking about economic growth without women, because most of these educated women, they are sitting at home, and we are in close contact with women in Afghanistan. Most of their young boys, they are joining Daesh because of their mothers sitting at home. There is no income, there is no source of any job opportunity or anything. They don't have any opportunity rather than joining Daesh. And it's a global security. It's not only a threat for Afghanistan, but it's a threat for the global and for the regional itself. Thank you.
Asila, and we go straight to Naheed Sarabi, and you were the former Deputy Finance Minister of Afghanistan, so we hope for some economic figures as well, maybe.
Thank you so much, Minister Margot, and thank you, Ireland. As a woman in development sector, this topic of women economic empowerment and their contribution to the economy is very close to my heart. And I join my esteemed panelists in thanking everybody for joining us today. Let us look and examine at some global indicators and statistics that are very concerning, at least to me. 1 in every 10 women globally are severely food insecure and live in extreme poverty. More than 50% of women do not participate in labor globally, who are in labor market. Although these statistics are undoubtedly troubling, but the Afghanistan situation presents even graver picture. Under the Taliban regime, there have been more than 80 decrees issued that impact and influence every aspect of women's life, from their freedom to movement and access to basic services, to their participation in political and social life, and to their right to work. This oppressive environment has not only negatively impacted women's productivity, but has also diminished their contribution in the economy. Alarmingly, women in Afghanistan are severely food insecure, and they suffer highest level of poverty. Also, their employment rate has plummeted from 11% in 2022 to mere 6% in 2023. This is really concerning. Under this scenario, I invite you to consider three issues. First, the economic outlook is really grim and unpredictable. The deflation and lowering domestic demand has impacted private sector, especially women and medium and small enterprises. While there's a lot of debate and talk about women and small and medium enterprises, let us remember, if there is no demand, there will be no ground slowly for these women. The path to economic recovery cannot be sustained and cannot be revived without reviving faith in the economic and financing sector, which needs strong institutions. Second, while there is growing sentiment for economic recovery and support to private sector and infrastructure, as I have followed some news regarding reviving some infrastructure projects in Afghanistan, this will not be achievable without women's contribution. I don't think there is any single example in the world where countries have achieved economic recovery and economic growth without contribution of women or confining women to their houses and not allowing them to contribute. You cannot have sustainable economic growth or development, as we're talking about SDGs, but with undercutting civic virtues or denying women of their basic rights. I was thinking, imagine a woman earning and not being able to spend it on her welfare and her welfare of family or welfare of her girls, cannot go to school, do not spend on her skills or education. Last but not the least, it's crucial to recognize the nexus between women's peace, security, and economy. Before contributing to the economy, women must enjoy all sorts of freedom, all sorts of security, and a peaceful environment as prerequisite to economic contribution. Repressive policies of the Taliban, unless reversed, will exacerbate instability and undermine institutional predictability, both of which are very crucial for economic growth and stability. Last but not least, I want to close by saying that no one thrives until everybody thrives. So my urge to international community is, while we continue to speak about economic empowerment and economic growth in these countries, this cannot be achievable by simultaneously stressing on the importance of women's rights, women's dignity, and human rights for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naheed. I think it couldn't have been clearer, but I will actually be the first one to ask you a question immediately to follow up. Because why is it then that the reports from Afghanistan today is that they are doing great economically? How come? Are they measuring the wrong things, or are they not covering how women are faring in Afghanistan?
Reports about Afghanistan doing well economically?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because you have the economic situation, the growth outlook is really grim. It's true that Taliban are generating revenues, but there is no accountability system on where these revenues are being spent. It's mostly on the sectors that are highly security intensive. And while we keep arguing that security has improved, then why so much expenditure on security? If you consider the aid being out of this equation, where are the expenditures on social welfare? Where are the expenditures on social services and basic services like education, health? We still remain a very aid-dependent country. And the finance sector is actually paralyzed. And I keep arguing that unless and until you do not have a revived faith in the finance sector, there will be no private sector growth. There will be no long-term growth, in fact. So I don't buy the fact that the growth picture is really positive.
Thank you. Would Afghanistan be able to export saffron or produce saffron if women were totally excluded from doing that work?
I don't think we'll be able to sustain any export or even trade and long-term growth without participation of women. And one thing is really concerning regarding the education. I think my esteemed panelists talked about it. It is not about today. Just imagine 10 years from now. Women are being deprived of education. Who's talking about their future contribution? If we do not have doctors, engineers, agriculture economists, and women in the finance sector in 10 years from now, what kind of growth and economic recovery are we really talking about?
Thank you, Naheed. So we open up for questions, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association, thank you for doing this briefing. As someone who first went to Afghanistan in 1971, probably long before a lot of you were born, my question to all of you is, what could be done by, other than pressure by governments, which has not worked since the Taliban came to power, to change their attitude toward women and toward minorities?
Thank you. That's the big question here, of course. So would you like to just give some short, maybe we go the whole podium. Please, what could be done?
There are lots of things that has to be done. And this is not the first time that things reversed for women. And we are not asking for something new. It was 102 years ago that women went for further education out of Afghanistan. I mean, it was more than 65 years ago that we had women in the parliament, in the cabinet and all that. So things keep on reversing for women in Afghanistan. This is something extremely important, because today you have it, tomorrow you don't know what is happening. That's why it needs a proper look at it, a new look at it, that how could we fix it, that this could be fixed for good. And we believe that as much as we need outside support, it has to be an Afghan look. This time we have to do it ourselves, and we have to see that how it could be sustained. I myself, and I'm speaking only for myself, there are lots of things in my country that it is done either in the name of tradition, or it is done in the name of Islam. We need a proper look at it, because this is not at all the fact. And we have to seek a support from all the ulamas, the knowledgeable people in Islamic studies inside Afghanistan and outside Afghanistan, that once and for all, with a very clear and loud voice, will say that we have to make it clear. If it is not Islam, then must be tradition. Is it that tradition has failed in front of my religion? For me, it's not acceptable, and I'm not going to accept it.
We take some more short answers to that question from the podium, and then we have more questions coming. So just short answers.
Thank you. On this issue of the pressure by different countries in the world over the last 2.5 years, I don't agree with you, Madam, because I don't think there has been any pressure on Taliban. Taliban received $40 million on a weekly basis. There was over 1,000 bilateral meetings by the world diplomats with them. They have normal relationship with most regional countries. The regional countries have their diplomat and have accredited the Taliban diplomats. Their top leaders travel. In fact, sometimes on private jets, where Afghan women are struggling in the regional countries, thousands of them escaped the Taliban draconian measures, waiting in the regional countries for their final destination. While women in Afghanistan cannot get out of their homes, the Taliban leaders fly by private jets, or they're being flown by private jets to attend these meetings. I think this engagement of international community with Taliban looks like a one-sided laugh. It's always the international community who wants to offer Taliban more and more, not even during the time that they are now in power, before that also. From the time that the international community started one-sided engagement with Taliban, that was when the whole thing started to go wrong. And this mistake is being repeated again and again. That's why we are saying, listen to us, because that is our country. We know what is best for our country. And in that, what is best for our country is changing the whole political ecosystem. Because without that, we're basically playing within, what's happening, normalizing what's happening and finding our way, which is good, because we need to use what is possible now. But this is not sustainable. In order to make it sustainable, a political pathway for Afghanistan to form an inclusive, representative government based on the will of people. That is the only solution, no other solution. Because in today's world, you cannot just ignore what's happening in Afghanistan because it's religion or tradition.
Thank you. Asila, you want to give a short comment as well?
Thank you so much. I think my sister mentioned about Yeah,
No,
I
he
just would
didn't.
like to. Yeah, it's okay. I just would like to talk about the hidden agenda, that there are still hidden agenda by international community, to be very honest. There are so many meetings and closed door meetings, women are forgot, women are ignored. Women should be part of any decision making. Why Doha agreement was failed? Because Afghan government was not part of the Doha agreement. Women were not part of the Doha agreement. So I would like to ask international community, especially UN, to not repeat those past experiences, to ignore Afghan women and Afghan people in general. Whenever there is a meeting about future of Afghanistan, women should be on the top priority at the table, not should be used as a token or only bringing one or two women as a formality, even to not have the enough time to speak. But if they would like to bring changes, and also my messages to Afghan leaders and Afghan politicians also through this podium is that Afghans are also unfortunately fragmented. We are very much divided into different groups, but until Afghan also not come together with each other, so international community will not do anything else.
Thank you. Naheed, should we maybe save you for, you can come back because there are more questions now. First you, sorry if I don't know your name, I have to point to you.
Celia Lavaren from Africa Confidential. My question is a little bit like the one Edith asked you. I heard what you said, but what I want to know is what is the UN office doing? I need an answer because, I mean, listening to you, it's like if the UN was doing nothing. So do they interfere with the Taliban? What are they doing?
And you mean the UN, how the UN is represented within Afghanistan? Okay, thank you. We'll just save that question and take maybe one more as well. I think you and
Hi, this is Mariam Ramadi with Afghanistan International. What I gathered from each one of you mentioned in your speeches about the UN meetings in Doha, and it seems that you are not happy with the results and how these meetings are taking place. Can you be a little bit more specific? What didn't you exactly like about the meeting? Do you agree with the pathway of engaging and negotiating with the Taliban, and also in regards of women of Afghanistan having a say at these negotiation tables? What is exactly your request from the UN and the international community? Also, my second question, you said there are some friction within the Security Council about the pathway regarding Afghanistan. We see Russia and China taking a whole different position on Afghanistan, and then the European countries and US have different requests. Do you think these
Okay, yeah.
7 questions. No, and they have 5 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, I think it's not longer than your question. But do you think these conflicts within the Security Council is impacting the pathways regarding Afghanistan? Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one more person. Your question, sir. Do you want to put your question? All right, it's already asked. So we have several questions baked into one or two, so there is a lot to answer to. But what is the role of UN in Afghanistan? What do you think about that? And also the Doha process, or if it is a process, what the Doha events. So maybe if you can comment on that. And then I would like maybe, Naheed, also if you can come back on the economic side after that. So who wants to start? And let me just say one thing about the forum. We have made it a point that on this forum we have women also with different views. It's not that we agree on one sort of line on everything, but actually we want many different voices to be heard as well. So it's and I think that this is good that we can demonstrate that as well. But so there can be different views, I'm sure. Who wants to start?
Well,
Fatima.
I'm a believer in engagement, and I've always been. When the Russian troops, the Soviet troops, left Afghanistan, I was pushing very much for engagement with Dr. Najib. And at that time, we didn't have social media, but I was equally crucified when I was talking, because I was 100% sure that if we don't come to an understanding within ourselves, there will be a civil war. And today, again, I believe that engagement is the only way. Engagement that could put women's issue very seriously, that will have women present when it is talked about. And if engagement is not the way, I would like very much that someone tell me that what is it? I believe that we must be engaged, and I argue that those embassies which exist in Afghanistan, and I've heard it from themselves, if they have one meeting per week with the de facto government, they have 2-3 meetings every day with the civil society, with women's group, with doctors association, with nurses association, and all that. I strongly believe in engagement, and this is my belief. As you said, that we all have different approaches, but one thing we all believe, that it has to be Afghan-centered. This is important.
Thank you. Do you want to continue, Fawzia?
I think the basic question is that over the past 2.5 years, the world has intensively been engaged with Taliban. As a woman whose life is being affected, whose my sister's life is being affected, my daughter's lives are affected, I want to know what is the outcome of these engagements. How actually it changed the situation. On the contrary, it actually boosted the Taliban morale, because it's one-sided, as I said before. It just boosted the Taliban morale. They think, well, the world is obliged to talk to them. No matter what they do, the world needs to talk to them. So I think there should be a space, an equal number of engagement with the political opposition, with women group, with civil society groups. And if there is an engagement with Taliban, it has to be a principal engagement. I wonder, and I request all of you, the media, to ask your diplomats, how many times when they engage Taliban, they actually first mention women's rights and human rights? It's all based on the interest of all these diplomats and their countries that they engage with Taliban, not for our issues. And this I heard from some of the people who are on the ground. They said, if they really pressurize, this will change the situation. So I think there should be principle. We want some accountability. There should be an accountability from international community as well on what are those issues that they engage and what is the outcome. Women should be put, Mariam John, on the center. We should not anymore ask for inclusion. Women should lead this, because we have been carrying the fight at least over the last 2.5 years. We have been the main resilience force against Taliban. No matter what we do, what we say, in our own way, we have been the main resilience force carrying the burden of what's happening in Afghanistan. So we need to be put in the center. Women-centric political narrative is the answer for Afghanistan.
Thank you. Asila, you want to give also short answer?
On the UNAMA mandate on the UN role in Afghanistan, I think they are doing a great job, having in mind that because they also, I can understand that the situation, it's not easy. UNAMA is working closely with de facto authority, and it's not an easy situation. Everybody at this podium, at this panel, we contributed individually and as a collective, as a women's forum, to the mandate. We do have a strong mandate, but I would like, because next week or maybe end of the month, the UNAMA mandate and mission will be going to reviewed by Security Council, and I would like to request the Security Council members and also UN in general to provide more resources and staff to the UN mission in Afghanistan to properly do their job. In terms of human rights component, there are still lack because they didn't did their job, but in general, in terms of coordination and other activities, they are doing their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Naheed, what can be done?
What can I think just a simple answer to the question of what is UN doing. I think on the economic end, humanitarian front, I think one of the things the UN is not doing enough is to ensure accountability and transparency. I think this is what we least experience as Afghans outside and inside the country, that it is our country. We have faith and we have ownership over our affairs and how our problems are solved with our own solutions. And it also brings me to the other question of forcing Afghans to have one voice. I think, let me be very blunt, it's a very Orientalistic approach. No one in the world, even very large democracies, have one voice. And the beauty of the matter is you all listen to every voice that matters and have a stake. I might have a different stake in my country's future than Ms. Koofi or Ms. Gailani or Ms. Wardak. So my urge is listen. And I think on the economic front, it's not easy to provide an economic, unfortunately, an economic solution minister to, while ignoring the political solutions. I know there's a narrative, let's support private sector, let's support economy, and everything else will be taken care of. No, I don't think that has worked anywhere in the world. If it was, it would have worked in Iran or North Korea, not in Afghanistan. So let's simultaneously focus on all sides. I know poverty reduction is a priority, delivering aid is a priority, but it has to ensure accountability at the same time.
Yeah. Accountability and participation by women, so to make sure that they are also involved in everything that has to do with the future for their country. And this has been our point from the very beginning. Let their voices be heard. They can be of different views, as we are very often in the rest of the world as well. But, we know of no other country where these very basic human rights are denied, where you have 80 edicts by now restricting, limiting women's lives. And I often try to say, what if there was a country of that size, saying from one day to another, now all men have to stay home. They cannot go to school, they cannot go to work. If they go outside, they should be accompanied by a woman or their sisters. They have to wear certain clothes. And we don't want them to see them in the barber shops either from now on, or the parks. Imagine if that would happen. How would the world react? Well, maybe we don't have to be that drastic, but this is what is happening to women in Afghanistan. And we, of course, feel an obligation to react, to help, to show solidarity, but also avoid this from spreading. Because if this is possible in one country and the world continues to report as if they are having an economic success at the moment, and I think you have demonstrated that that is not even true and cannot, of course, be sustainable, then we have to do more. And I think that we have had some good answers from, of course, my friends. They call me Minister Margot as if that was my name. I'm no longer a minister, and I should tell you that, but we joke about that. But thank you so much. I should check if there are other questions from the people we have online. Have we received? No. All right. And are you happy here? Anyone who would like to ask a last question? You still have a minute. If not, thank you so much for attending. Again, thank you to Ireland for enabling us to do this. And we will be around, and you will see more of us. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.